China does not seek a settled border. An unsettled border is what China sees as advantageous, because an unsettled border allows China to keep India under military pressure. It allows China to continue to look for openings, because India cannot patrol each and every square kilometer of this very long and inhospitable border. This is one of the world's most difficult borders to patrol. So China is constantly looking for openings to encroach on further Indian areas. So an unsettled border is what China wants, and that's the reason why there has been no real progress in bilateral talks on the border, even though the talks began when? In 1981, when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. Over so many decades now, these talks have been ongoing. These are the longest two-country negotiations on the border in modern history. In modern history, there have been no such prolonged negotiations running into decades with nothing to show. And that really answers the question that you raised, that China is not interested in settling the border with India. We always focus on the strategic aspects, often ignore the economic aspects. But there are two things we should keep in mind. First, China's trade surplus with India has ballooned to such an extent that it has exceeded India's total defense budget. In other words, India is financing China's military buildup and its containment of India. That's the irony of it. The second is that if you look at what India exports to China and what it imports from China, it is as if the Indian economy is the raw material appendage of the Chinese economy. We are mostly exporting raw materials to China and importing finished products. We even export iron ore and import steel from China. This has to change fundamentally. First and foremost, we need to stop importing non-essential things from China. If you look at the Indian market, it's flooded with cheap Chinese products. Some years ago, when I was living in Germany, I went to this 99-cent, that one euro shop, where I thought that I will be able to find only Chinese products, made in China products. To my surprise, when I went into this 1 euro store in Berlin, majority of products have been made in Germany. German manufacturers make cheap products for the German market. We've actually allowed China to swamp our market. Even if anybody who buys products online like I do, even though we have a regulation that says that online sellers should state where the product is made, this regulation is not important. They hide the fact that these products are made in China. So you buy something, for example, from Amazon or Flipkart, and when it arrives, you notice that it's made in China. We have to enforce our own regulations, and we have to ensure that non-essential imports from China are curbed so that we actually boost our own manufacturing. If we don't encourage our own manufacturing, how will we create employment for our youth? The biggest crisis India faces today is unemployment among the young. And the only way to address that issue is for India to become the world's next big manufacturing hub. And this is what China does not want. That's the reason why it has imposed economic restrictions on India, including on transfer of skilled manpower, the transfer of technical know-how, etc., so that India does not become the alternative to China in terms of manufacturing.